And when the army took to the streets of Cairo this morning, people feared the worst, a brutal crackdown. Instead, the soldiers kept a precarious peace, but the protesters' demands remain the same, ousting President Hosni Mubarak. One day after an exclusive interview with the Egyptian strongman, Christiane Amanpour returns to the chaotic streets and brings us this compelling dispatch.
Terry, it was called the day of departure. They wanted the president to go after this show of strength on the streets. But the night ended, the president still in his palace, although his supporters, the mobs that had charged the protesters earlier this week, melted away, disappeared. And the army, importantly, shifted gears from having been a neutral observer to now really keeping both sides apart.
This was Tahrir Square this afternoon, when a rumor swept through the crowd that President Hosni Mubarak had stepped down. He resigned, they shouted, their euphoria practically lifting the anti-government demonstrators into the air. The mad joy lasted only about 30 seconds, when it quickly became clear it was just a rumor.
It's not true, it's not true.
For 2 days, this contested piece of land was the scene of raging battles.
Today it's a completely different atmosphere, peaceful, because the army has taken a decision to expand the buffer zone between the people who are protesting against the government and any pro-Mubarak supporters who may come here.
We came in over a bridge with tanks posted at either end. The checkpoints are up again and everyone is searched for weapons.
For the first time in the last couple of days, we're walking freely on this bridge, which has been the site of clashes, of surrounding journalists, of being hostile. Today, it's peaceful.
There are also soldiers on foot manning armored barricades. The protesters themselves are forming line after line of defense to keep out troublemakers. The sense of pride in their nation, in their culture, is palpable, but makes the scene here all the more tragic. I walked in front of the National Museum. It's strewn with rubble and burnt-out vehicles leading up to the 6th of October bridge, where many of the clashes have taken place. It looked like something out of World War II. The burnt-out vehicles, the rubble, and the walking wounded, complete with a sidewalk field hospital. This was actually a triage center set up by the medical professionals among the protesters. Many of them had heard about my meeting with President Mubarak at the palace, and they were eager to ask me questions.
I spoke to him yesterday. I saw him at the palace, and I said to him, there are people who tell me they don't trust you when you say you will step down. And he said, I've made my decision.
What did he say exactly?
He said that he felt that he had met your demands.
No, of course, he's a liar. He's a big liar. We don't believe him at all.
Now, with the White House pushing publicly for a quicker political process to start and help the transition along, these protesters are growing impatient for just that.
The next elections, he could do a lot of things before he steps down. We don't trust him.
The war on the ground, the struggle has been achieved. We still have not achieved the political battle.
But there are many Egyptians who are just as impatient for these protests, which have brought the economy to a screeching halt, to end.
We want to go back to work and continue our lives.
So what do you think should happen now?
We think it should stop. I mean, what has been offered by the government, what has been granted by the government and the concessions they made is enough for now.
And there are real questions about who will fill the vacuum if President Mubarak just goes.
There's a lot of anxiety that the Muslim Brotherhood is taking over the protests.
This is not true. This is not true. All types of people are here. Muslims and Christians and all types.
But some of the youth leaders here told us they felt the Brotherhood was hijacking their movement.
They're all talking about what they need, what they want to do, not what we want to do. They're talking for us when we didn't ask them to stand for us.
So I asked Dr. Issam Aryan, a leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, what they want. We spoke by phone because it was too dangerous for him to meet us in public.
What do you say to people who are afraid that the Muslim Brotherhood will take over and turn this into another Iran?
The people of Egypt are taking over the power, not the Muslim Brotherhood.
He says the Brotherhood will not even field a presidential candidate in the next election.
Because we want to send a message to Egyptians and to the region and to the whole world that we are aiming and targeting to have a civil state, democratic state.
And despite the uncertainty about what's to come next, people here are looking forward to a future they can be proud of.
That future remains uncertain, however. Our thanks to Christiane and her team for another exceptional day of reporting out there. And for more on the crisis in Egypt, be sure to tune in Sunday to This Week with Christiane Amanpour. She'll be reporting from there.